Welcome back to the shop. A few months ago I mentioned that I was thinking about using cherry for the inside wood for the sauna I'm planning to build. I put up a video, got some really good feedback, and since then I've decided, well, maybe cherry's not the best option. One reason is it's a more dense wood, so it's going to conduct heat more, maybe making a very hot seat or very hot walls, and a few other reasons that I can't remember at the moment. So anyway, I decided to go with Poplar. Number one, because Poplar is one of the most popular woods, or the 10 most popular woods used in saunas. I got a comment from my friend on Instagram, the Lawn Whisperer. He mentioned that the sauna in his gym is made of poplar. The one thing that made me think I didn't want to use poplar is it's a very light colored wood, and I thought it would get dirty quickly. Since this is just private use in my own home, I don't expect to get it that dirty, and I'm going to design it with the benches to be able to easily be removed and cleaned, figuring the benches would be the only area of the sauna that would be getting dirty, as long as nobody's putting their grubby hands against the wall. Those are my kids I'm talking to. So anyway, the price I got on Poplar, this is from Lewis Lumber, was $1.85 a board foot. So a board foot is 12 by 12 inches. So compare that to Cedar at $6.50 a linear foot for 1 by 6, which measures 3/4 by 5.5 by 12 inches. So a huge savings. I bought the material, random width with a straight line rip, and the boards are between 8 and 10 feet. Once I got the wood in the shop here, I went through the boards and basically found out its closest measurement to 4.5, 5.5, and 6.5. I do have some very wide boards, and I just put them to the side for a while. Figured I'd get a good jump on the majority of the wood for the sauna with these boards that I divided into those measurements. Once I cleaned up the side that didn't have a straight line rip, I flipped the board over and put a nice clean edge on the other side and ripped it to its true measurement at one of those 3 measurements. Now I've got a feather board set up on my table saw, and I've also got a hold down attached to the table saw fence, so the wood won't rise while I'm pushing it through the saw and end up with an uneven lap joint, because I'm creating shiplap here. So I've already ran all of the 4.5 inch boards through this setup, and it's worked out really well. And now I'm going to readjust the fence and run the 5.5 inch boards next. Actually, I'm not readjusting the fence, I'm readjusting the feather board. The sacrificial fence and the hold down board stay right where they are. I'll remove the feather board for the time being, run one of the 5.5 inch boards about halfway through, and then reset up the feather board. Here's a look at the featherboard system. I've got a 40-degree angle cut on a piece of plywood that's clamped to my table saw extension table. I've got a 40-degree angle on the featherboard, and this piece braces this piece along with 2 clamps clamped to the table extension. I do like to wear gloves when I'm making the shiplap. It gives me a little more grip on the board. Before I start up the saw, I'm going to pull the board back a little so the blade isn't in contact with the board. Hit dust collection and make the cut. Okay, that was the last board. So now I can go ahead and break this system down. I'm not worried about taking it apart because it's really easy to set back up. Take me maybe 5 or 10 minutes. I've taken some notes on where the fence is. And when we take this apart, we'll focus a little bit on the sacrificial fence and the hold down because I didn't really go deep into that since it was already set up. The first step was to rip 2 boards so I could test the cuts. Then I attached a piece of MDO to the fence. You could also use plywood. I just happen to have this in the shop. You do want something with a plywood core, something that will hold a screw. MDF wouldn't work because it won't hold a screw. Once that was done, I raised the blade a little bit and adjusted the fence until I had a 1/2 inch rabbet. And then I adjusted the height of the blade until that 1/2 inch rabbet was a little bit more than 3/8 of an inch deep. And I went a little bit heavier than 3/8 because I'd rather have a gap between the boards that no one will see than some kind of a heavy spot in this lap joint here that could throw the other board out of whack. So it's one of those things that's just nobody's ever going to know, and it's just going to save you a headache or a potential headache. Then I took the board, put it up tight against the fence. At this point, the hold down hasn't been attached yet. I used aluminum flashing as shims. Then I put the hold down on top of the aluminum flashing and attached the hold down to the sacrificial fence. Once it was attached, then you can remove the flashing. And that just gives you a little bit of space so the board doesn't get hung up while you're pushing it through the saw. When I take this setup apart, you can see that's where the dado blade cuts into the sacrificial fence. I'm going to keep this, just drill a hole in the top of it and hang it on the wall in case I need to make more shiplap. Okay, so that pretty much covers the subject of making the shiplap. Let's talk a little bit about the lumber. This is an older piece of poplar. You can see it's a warmer, darker color than the new poplar. So the poplar will get warmer in color over time. It's probably not going to be as nice looking as cedar, but the savings, in my opinion, is just totally worth it. I made so far about 250 feet of the tongue and groove, random widths, 6.5, 5.5, and 4.5. And if I were to make that material in cedar or try to buy that in cedar, I would be close to $1,700. I've still got about 100 board feet left to work with to build the benches, make more shiplap if I need to. So for me, it was just the way to go. Now, the reason why I was originally thinking cherry is cherry at the moment is very inexpensive as well. Not quite as inexpensive as poplar. For 4/4 cherry, it is $1.85 a board foot. For 4/4 poplar, it's $1.55. Now, I know in the beginning of the video I said it was $1.85. It is because you have to pay for some of the milling. So the 4/4 price at $1.55 is rough lumber. So it's not going to be planed on either side. Another 10 cents, you can get it planed down to just about 7/8 of an inch. Now that doesn't guarantee that you're going to have a smooth surface on both sides, but it does clean up the boards pretty good, and that's sometimes a good way to go. If you want to bring it down to 3/4, which I did, that's another 10 cents. And if you want a straight line rip, which means you're taking a board that's always going to have some kind of a bend in it, putting a straight line rip on it so you can put it against your table saw fence, again, that's another 10 cents a board foot. So in my case, totally worth it, saved a tremendous amount of time. Joining longer boards is really not that easy. It takes a lot of labor, and for me, the 10 cents just makes sense. So I hope that makes sense of the lumber pricing. Again, I mentioned that I bought the lumber from Lewis Lumber. That's a place in Pennsylvania. So my friend Jeff, Green Street Joinery, he's a commercial business. So he bought the lumber and I just paid Jeff. And he ended up getting a shipment of red oak at the same time, and we just split the shipping fee. So all in, I think $500 for the lumber, or $495, and then we split the shipping of $150, so $75, so just about $575. I was able to get all this lumber. As far as the building of the sauna, I'm still doing a little research. I've mentioned that I want to build this as kind of a kit so I can take it apart and move it if I have to. And I'm still doing a little research on what I want to use for wall material. I was thinking about 2x4s and ripping them down, but 2x4s often have a mind of their own. So now I'm thinking of making the stud material out of some kind of plywood. So I'll keep you posted on that. This project's just kind of going to go on for a couple of weeks, and we'll just get into it from time to time. If you're not following me over at Today's Craftsman, I hope that you'll check me out over there, along with Jeff and Rob from Green Street Joinery. That's a channel that really focuses on what's happening in the woodworking world, new technology, new hardware, new finishes, and of course, woodworking. I've also got a third channel called Two River TV, and that's all about what's going on in the area that I live in. That's just a lot of fun because I just go to cool places that I want to know about, or meet cool people that I want to know about, turn on the camera, video them, and then post it on the second channel. So I'll have links to everything down below. Hope that you'll check that out. And of course, if you're looking for a good woodworking project, I hope that you'll check out my woodworking project plans. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.